Hello, my friends. So, happy Friday and lunar eclipse and all this Gemini crazy stuff. I'm hearing all sorts of stuff. Can you hear me okay? It's pretty loud in here, but what an amazing time for us all to gather. It's been over a year coming out of COVID, and everything has changed. Everything's changed for us personally. We didn't get to even gather with our families. And here we are now gathering. Events are back, and everything has changed. So I'm very excited to be here with you and share some really interesting stuff. We've had some great speakers here. I hope you got to see the marketing panel. Thanks to those guys that did that. Great information. We've seen a major shift to online, but everybody's wondering, what about retail? Will there be a revival of retail? Yes, we only have a few minutes, so I'm going to go really fast, but I'm going to talk to you and share a few statistics about where we are, where we're going, and 4 strategies that anybody can implement to see the revival of retail for them if you have an existing store, or to take into that if you're looking at opening a store. So when we look and reflect on this past year, we know a few things, right? That retail got completely hit hard. So hit hard, everything has been going online. We had disruptions in supply chain. Stores closed all over. 85%, they say 85% of independent CBD stores closed during COVID. That's a lot. So the safety measures and financial implications all had a huge impact. But during that time, we opened new dispensaries. We see 2 of our franchise owners right in the back, Alan and Franklin, and they have dispensaries here in Athens and Augusta. So wow, we didn't know what was going to happen, right? We opened new dispensaries and bam, they had to close. Our retail stores were all closed. We operate, Franny's Farmacy operates in 5 states. They were closed for a month to 3 months. It's kind of hard to stay in business like that. So the lack of footfall isn't new. And with the e-com booming and the steady decrease of number in visitors to brick and mortars over the years, the pivot was really easy for some of these big places like Amazon, Walmart. You know, the pivot was easy, but not for CBD because we do not have the ability to market online like some of these big stores, which is a really benefit. We are already seeing people returning to the stores. So here's some interesting statistics. Okay, so in 2020, sales of CBD only, 2020 during pandemic, only items with the shift to the online and conventional retailers, 10% of all CBD products were sold out of California, Colorado, Nevada, and Washington. In that entire year, that equaled about $43 million. That sounds okay, but listen to where we are now. April this year, April 2021, the biggest sales in CBD to date, and cannabis just became the 4th leading consumer goods product, followed only by first, which is sodas, tobacco, and alcohol. Is there a market? Absolutely, absolutely. Those 4 states which I mentioned, California, Colorado, Nevada, and Washington, May 2021, I love statistics, by the way. I'm a farmer. I was the first farmer to plant hemp. We're involved in research, I said. I'm like, show me the numbers, show me the data, give me a spreadsheet. Those 4 states in May 2021 just came out. They did 42 million in 1 month, now representing 30% of CBD sales. Is there a market? Yes. Is there a market for retail? What retail businesses do we really see hurt, and which do we see growing? Franchise Times says that next to food, health and wellness is the #1 growing enterprise for brick and mortar. So, yes, yes, yes. What are we doing? Where are we going? You know, there are certain products and services and experiences that cannot be sold online, like a massage or haircut or manicure. Beyond that, there's no ability to be given personalized interaction. You just don't get that. Trust me, AI is working on it. One day we'll be able to walk in stores online. Right now, that's not the way it works. And it's normal for people to need education and help customizing a purchasing choice. And that's what the in-retail experience offers, especially in CBD. So let me share a few more interesting statistics. This is from Headset. I always want to call it Head Start. Great, they are all about cannabis statistics. The percent of people in 2018 that could identify hemp, that would say that they could identify hemp, was 3%. 3% could actually identify and differentiate what hemp was from CBD. In 2020, that was 41%. 41% knew the difference between hemp and CBD. Now the percent of people that have heard about CBD in the same study and are willing and wanting to try it, 88%. So are we seeing there's a lot of people that know what it is, have heard about it now, want to try it, but where do they go? Is online the place? Everywhere you go online for Google to search, it's only a company. They're not advertising, the marketing and the education, this is emerging industry. So there's an obvious need for customers to access the information, education, and products. Plus, shoppers are beginning to ask where their money is being spent. And this is something I really love, because what Franny's Farmacy does, I put my name behind a business. I gotta stand up and represent the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, everything, every day. Shoppers are beginning to ask, this is the newest trend, is their money making an impact and a difference in the world? People are not, I love some of these, here's one more statistics I'll share with you. But as Franny's Farmacy is in their transition and working towards B Corp certification, that's people, planet, profits. We stand up and let everybody know we are more about health and wellness and the world. We're making an impact. That is something that we can all do that's making a difference. Yahoo Finance recently reported that consumers are making choices and seeking companies with ethical standards over low cost and fast delivery. Before pandemic, all it was cost and speed. We were running 1,000,000 miles an hour to get it as fast as we can, as much as we can, and things have changed. The disruption in our supply chain, that alone changed how everybody does business, whether you're big or not. We can see how some of this has changed. All the online free shipping that used to be offered by big conglomerates, that's not happening the same. So how do we operate when it's not just business as usual anymore? There's no such thing as business as usual, especially in CBD and hemp, right? We can't market and advertise away, and the people need us to educate. So here's a few strategies that we talk about in retail and what to do. Go local. Go local. Our franchise owners are independent owner-operators in their stores, in their communities, in their towns. They are in farmers markets. They are doing outreach. You can talk to them. They're real people. It's not a big company. People want a person that is going to stand up and take responsibility, because companies aren't doing that, right? It's easy for a company to be like, we're going to lay people off and we're going to stay in business and keep the profits, right? These people, going local in your communities is a great, great way to make a foothold for your retail store. Another thing we're doing, double down customer service. We have corporate training. People are learning. We are not there to tell them about CBD. We are about there to tell them about what they need. Ask questions. We have loyalty programs, and we call it loyalty programs. More and more, what do they need? Another thing we're doing is more consumers are becoming aware of what it is. We're adding new product lines, and they're in categories, and they're using medicinals. The home and heart of our business has been the farm. So in retail, make sure if you're a cannabis store and you're representing a lot of brands, represent something that makes sense. Don't try to sell something. When somebody comes in and you got 5 brands, how do you know what to sell them? You're selling them a story. Know where it's coming from. Know where your products come from and the people that represent them, so that it makes a difference, so that you're standing for something and you're giving your customers something they can believe in. These new product categories help people educate themselves too. So we talk a lot about education. That's something we've been doing in our dispensaries, more and more education for people to come in and have an experience and learn while they're there. Stay a while, learn something. Because if it's not just for you, every single time, it makes you think of somebody else. And then another thing that we're doing, I know everybody thinks like it's all roses in my world, right? Well, my perspective is very optimistic. It always is, because change is inevitable. We know that retail needs online presence as well. So where we are, like with our franchises, we represent a group. And what we have done as a company, and this has been strategically how companies have always done business, we own the big business, right? We own online and y'all have retail. We're combining that so that people that are in retail get a piece of the online business as well. They get their own identifiers so that they're building, because the future will be combined. It's going to be experiences everywhere. So, let's just face it, an amazing experience can't be replicated. We've all had them, right? A meal, that server that was so great, this amazing man named Prince that I walked out of my hotel and I thought the expo center was going to be right there and it wasn't. I was like, can you help me? He didn't even work there. He gave me a ride over here. I'll never forget that experience. Be that person. That's what retail does. And then, just in closing, and I'm going to open this for some questions, because whether you realize it or not, when you shop local, you are individually stimulating the local economy. That you're supporting that right where you live. So rethinking the role of retail in society is going to be key to rebuilding loyalty and trust in a post-pandemic world. It will. I want to make sure that we only have a few minutes, that if there is something I can answer for y'all, I would be happy to do that. Are there any questions? Anyone? Yes, ma'am. Head Start is a great place to be getting statistics and information in the cannabis space. Also, if you are online on Franny's Farmacy, which we always say F-A-R-M, putting the farm in pharmacy, because I'm a farm girl, and this is plant medicine, and that's where we're going. On our press page, all these statistics are things that I've shared. There's a recent article that's come out about franchising, the top 10 franchises to watch. There's some of the statistics in there. So you can also look on our press and media page. We share a lot of that information, and that's great. Any other questions out there? I'm gonna count on y'all to give me a time. I don't know where we are on that. Oh goodness, I'm always like super fast to make sure that I'm getting y'all. Are there any of y'all right now that have a retail store? Fantastic. This is good. Are there anybody that's wanting to open a retail store? Some up. Great. Has this been helpful? I know you've got questions. Go about in your community, local. In Asheville, for instance, where my hometown is, we have a campaign that we're one of the spearheads for it that's called Go Local. And we got our Chamber of Commerce involved, and we have Explore Asheville, which is they take in all the hospitality taxes and retarget and market. We have bumper stickers, we have t-shirts, we have signs that are going in offices and buildings and retail stores as our entire town has transitioned. It's pretty, we have had a lot of retail's been hurt, but we're here. Yes, ma'am, did you have, this is my other friend that got a ride with Prince and me this morning. We were both out there saying, what's going on? What an amazing experience. So is there any questions? We actually have like 10 minutes, so I was like flying through this so fast because usually the questions take up most of the time. So somebody had asked about statistics. So when I talk about health and wellness being the #2 franchise business opportunity right now, as we look into that, I want to break that down a little bit more because CBD and hemp stores are in the top 10. We also have spas. There's a new trend that's going around called salt caves. So it's very interesting, but hemp and CBD stores are in the top 3 of the health and wellness brands that are expanding. The reason, and we're looking at cannabis, and when we speak about cannabis as a whole, it's very great to segment out hemp and CBD. I want to tell you why I am the biggest advocate for that. It's non-psychoactive, so we have an entire market of the entire world, pretty much. Everybody is our market. Children, Asheville, the town I'm in, I have a master's in education. I spent many years in the school systems working with special needs, a lot of ADD, because it says it takes one to know one. So, hemp and CBD, I mean, what remarkable results. It's all anecdotal. I can't go out there and make medical claims, but because I worked in the school system and part of what I do as tutor, had helped so many parents and their children. They're like, they trusted me, right, as a community liaison. Asheville is one of the first school districts in the entire country that took CBD off their list, restricted list. And it was because parents put their children on it, saw results on it, used it themselves, and they petitioned the board. Now that's the way to make a difference. Hemp and CBD, why do we want to stick there? Well, we already know a lot about what's happening out west and the integration. I spent over a decade in pharmaceuticals. The day I ever deal with insurance again, you put me in my grave. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. You have 2 customers there, okay? Medical and recreational. It crosses a line for health and wellness. And I love cannabis, all cannabis for fiber, for food. I eat it every day. I love all cannabis. But if I'm in business, I'm in the hemp and CBD business. Because you know what? My dog that was given 3 months to live, lived 3 years. I mean, and your dog's your best friend. You want him to live forever. My parents, they're on this. My stepdad was on 12 pharmaceuticals and could still use these topicals and feel relief. This is a huge benefit. There are so many things. You can't use THC products with your dogs, people. Don't do that. It's not good for them. All research says it can actually kill them. Okay? Not good. So hemp and CBD, we have everybody in our market. You're in the right place. You're in the right place. You see all of this activity. Everybody is supporting this cause, health and wellness. That's where we are. That's the market we're in. So we still have a few minutes if that instilled any questions for anybody, or I'll just keep talking because I can do that all day long. Anybody? Yes, please. Yeah, hemp, and that's okay. It's less than 0.3%, and full spectrum for pets is what he asked. We actually, in our product line, have used broad spectrum and isolate. So most of the pets products that are coming out right now with more and more research, this is what I talk about in our expanded product line too. We've got more and more cannabinoids research, and we're able to better target and use synergistic herbs, plant medicines, other ingredients to really deliver a better product. So we're seeing a lot of advancement in pet products. We're also seeing that very niche because FDA, right, they says that's a food item. So there's a lot of regulations behind all the CBD products and hemp products. Also know where you're going. For y'all looking into retail, you need to make sure that the places you source your products from for your retail store are made in a GMPC facility. That's good manufacturing practices. We're GMPC global. There's a whole different set of standards. It costs a lot of money and a lot of time to get there, but that's the right path to take. And and the FDA has not regulated that right now, but they will. And when they do, I sat on the board, one of the committees for the FDA all last year, graciously turned over that torch. Don't put somebody like me on a panel like that. I got a lot to say, but we're going to look at that will become a regulation. It's going to be one of the first and easiest, and in manufacturing right now, I can guarantee you at least half the products they say out there are not being made in a GMP facility. Please ask that. If you're in retail and you're sourcing your products, this is our logo, C2 Shelf, Hemp and Health. We were the first ones in North Carolina. When you're first, you got to do it. You got to figure it all out. So I made every mistake, and so I'm here to tell you not to do that. We're one of the first to QR code and do tracking on our products. It was easier because they came from our farm. Now it's a little bit harder because we have a network of farmers. But that is very, very important as you look to source who you're going to stand for and who you're going to represent in your stores. Any other questions? Super excited to meet somebody that has been in the farming in Georgia and has been following me for several years and just made my day saying how much she loves and respects to see all the mistakes I make and all the great things I do, and I'm still here. Just fix them. Just fix them. Everything's changing. It's all changing. It's great to have y'all here. Welcome to answer any other questions or see you afterwards. I'd also invite you to have a conversation with some of the people that are in retail, that are seeing, I just made that. Did y'all see that? I did. That are doing this business. And also visit us at our booth. We're just about 3 aisles straight back to the left. We've got Faith, one of our marketing people here, and Tanisha here. We can show you our products. We can talk to you more in person, straight up. And please, by all means, visit us online. We do everything, and we're here to help companies as well. With wholesale, franchising, whatever you need, that's what we do. Yes, ma'am.
Thanks so much for being here. I've learned a lot, so thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. I do have a question about how long you've been in this space and what are the biggest hurdles to getting into the retail, well, I guess you've created the retail and franchising aspect of it.
I'm really glad you asked that. Thank you for asking that. So in 2017, I planted I was the first female to plant a hemp seed in North Carolina. So thus started everything. Sometimes I like to say it really started in 1999 when I read the book, The Emperor Wears No Clothes, and wrote a paper on it in college. I was in forestry school, changed everything. But really in 2017, our businesses started. In the first year, I grew for food and fiber. And before the next year transitioned to growing for CBD, because we didn't even know what the market was going to do. In 2017, nobody was doing it. North Carolina was the 7th state to even grow, and it had only been done on universities and in research. This is why I started a nonprofit, Women in Hemp, to raise money, to get education, to find the breeders that are still with us. This year we'll have our first trial day. So every obstacle that we face there is still obstacles for people getting in retail. It's harder to do. Who you know makes a difference. You'll still have challenges with banking. Oh, gracious. For instance, who we bank with, they don't accept new CBD and hemp customers. Banking itself is a huge issue, continues to be an issue, because why? The government can't determine which is which. And if you give somebody an inch, guess what? Every cannabis, every marijuana and THC seller is also going to be a hemp seller, because they pay 30% more taxes than we do right off the top. There's a huge different expense. So you're going to find obstacles with banking. Credit card processing, very exciting that there are new options becoming more and more available. I've seen some people even here. It's still an issue. Website, we had 4 websites shut down because guess what? They just crawl them and they'll shut them down. We had to get our own server. It may not be as big of an issue now, but I definitely know that it is still an issue for some. You're not doing it on Squarespace and some of these other, Wix and some of these that you've been able to do before, you can get shut down. PayPal stole $16,000 from our Women in Hemp nonprofit and from our dispensaries, because when we first opened, we're like, how do we even get money? And we went through mine, my dog set up a PayPal. I mean, everybody in my family set up a PayPal, and all the animals. I'm a farmer, right? I think we have like 17 goats. They all had a PayPal until it got shut down. And we didn't want to leave too much money in there. It's still an issue with PayPal. I could name you 10 people off the top of my head that have money that PayPal to. So advertising, you're not going to be able to do the same advertising. This is why retail in your local town and community can make a difference. You want to be partners with your media people. Partner with them, and always remember, it's not about us. We own the business. It's not about us. If we're not raising and elevating our purpose and functioning from that, you're going to go with the 85% of people that open and closed in a year. Because it's tough and it's competitive and you need to stand out. Every obstacle is still an obstacle. And I don't know if you saw the marketing panel, you're not going to advertise on Facebook, Instagram, social media, Google ads and stuff right now unless you've got a ton of money behind you. That's not where a retail store is. That's where we, like for instance for us, we're using that as a conglomerate. Our corporate is doing that and extending this to our retail locations to meet that issue. If it weren't an issue, we wouldn't be doing that. It'd be old school. Y'all have a retail store, we have an online store. So there are definitely obstacles and hurdles. But, I'm only 5'5", and I made it to state in the 200 hurdles. Yes, I did, back in 1985. Yes, I did. Put a hurdle in front of me, we're just going to keep jumping them. They're meant to be jumped, or go around it. There's a lot of things, but we need to stay small, stay tight, stay focused, and have a purpose. Because you know what? If you're not authentic, people know that. They know. They know. Yeah. You put somebody else up here saying this message, you can put 10 people up here, and you're going to know who means it and who doesn't. So, great question, though. And it looks like I'm out of time. Oh, sorry. I went from too much time to no time. Please come see us. It was a pleasure talking to you, and stick with it. Stick with it.